Hey, it's Ryan, and welcome to my ongoing series on the artistic entrepreneur. Now, my goal here is to reach fellow creatives like you and share some advice and stories about different ways that you can actually use your craft to support your art. And I'll be sharing some of the tools that I've been using to bring in some extra cash that I use to pay for my singing lessons, but I'll also be joined with friends and colleagues in the industry that I've handpicked specifically because they are actually utilizing their performance skills in their careers. And one of the most fulfilling things I think that we can do in life is to share our journey and our learned experience and help other people along the way. So I hope you'll continue to follow along and let me know what you are doing to succeed in your art, both creatively and financially. And I am beyond thrilled to have my dear friends Kris Longwell and Wesley Loon on the show today. From cats to cruise lines, this couple has done it all. Kris and Wesley are both trained performers, and in recent years, they have channeled their passions and talents to create How to Feed a Loon. And we'll get into that in a minute. Kris and Wesley you can hear them laughing. Kris and Wesley have been married for over 30 years, and Kris has always been a fabulous home cook. I can vouch for that. And in 2013, they decided to start this venture that is now a fully developed web presence where they craft and share the most delicious recipes and often hilarious videos of them in the kitchen. I met Kris and Wesley through local theater groups back in New Jersey, and it's just been so lovely seeing this idea blossom into a full-time business for both of them. I must emphasize that they are both amazing entertainers, and I believe that their quick wit and their chemistry with each other as presenters are as much a part of their success as the wonderful recipes that they share. How is that for an intro? Here are Kris and Wesley.
Wow,
That's great.
That was awesome.
Can we just put you in our back pocket and pull that out every time we need it?
You can make it a ringtone, and every time it comes, you just get a nice boost and a nice feel-good message. I'm so glad to have you here.
We're so glad to be here, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been far too long, but I wanted to just talk about your performance careers first. And isn't that how you met? Did you meet at AMDA? Is that how it all?
Yes. In here it goes. In 1989, I was very young. I was 19,
and I was 24. Although everyone said he looked older than me.
Right, exactly.
We actually met outside. American Musical and Dramatic Academy. I came up from Texas. Wesley came from, where were you? South Dakota. And but we hadn't started school, but the school let us go to like various events, like shows, and we saw Lend Me a Tenor on Broadway. And after the show, we were both standing outside and caught each other's eye.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
I love that. And then you both went on to do all sorts of things. Kris, you did Cats, and you've had opportunities to work together at Bucks County Playhouse and a million other places. Just tell me a little bit of some of your favorite performing career highlights. Just indulge me for a minute, because I love these stories.
Okay, well, Cats was something else. That was amazing. I was the tumbling cat. I also grew up as a gymnast, so that helped me get my foot in the door a lot of times for shows when they needed tumblers who could also sing and dance. But that was awesome, and I did long runs of a chorus line. I got to work with Byork Lee, who is the original Connie Wong and Michael Bennett's right-hand woman. And anyway, so that was amazing. That was exciting. I also really enjoyed when, once we kind of phased out of pursuing professional theater, when we met you in New Jersey, and then there was such a robust community of actors and people who really were skilled. And so some of the greatest work I ever got to do, I really did a lot of straight plays. I love just acting, and I did a show called Bread, which was about Mark Rothko, the artist, and that was phenomenal. So it's been a fun, rich life of being able to be on stage, I guess, and perform. And now what we do is just, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Well, and I went the cruise line route.
Boy, did he ever.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my personality just fit perfectly with cruise staff duties too. Except for I did get reprimanded for saying aloha by tilting my head. I was going, aloha. They said, we would love it if you would say, you're doing great, but just don't tilt your head when you say aloha.
Which I think is kind of rude.
I know.
It's a little, but anyway.
I know. I was really into it.
It was the 90s.
But anyway, so I did a lot of cruise ships, and it just got to a point, just kind of moving on from there, it got to a point where Kris and I were never seeing each other. And, we had to ask ourselves at one point, what's more important? Because it's either us or our professional career in theater. So we had to make a decision. And it had there was a little money situation as well.
Well, I think that's a very common thing that you see. People want to start families. People want to settle down. New York City maybe isn't the place to do that anymore. Maybe that's part of what even brought you out to New Jersey. It's certainly what took me up to Massachusetts. The New York City hustle isn't always for everyone, and it isn't always a lifelong thing. But it should never diminish the fact that you still possess amazing talents, and that you should, and I think people should always continue to find an outlet for them. So the community theater thing is incredible. It's an incredible outlet for so many people to work by day and have their artistic fulfillment at night. Here in Massachusetts, I'm still doing my research, seeing which groups I want to step my foot into and give a try,
Yeah.
But they're out there.
Yeah, they're actually, community theater, when we moved to New Jersey, it saved us. We were, we had to go to, we obviously went to 9-to-5 jobs, and we needed an outlet. And when we moved to New Jersey, there was that vibrant community theater, and it was really, really amazing, and we made so many friends along the way that obviously to this day we still keep in touch with.
Yeah. I'd like, if we can, to dive into How to Feed a Loon territory now. First off, I know it's on your website, but for our audience who isn't familiar with who you are, and they should be, explain the title just for everyone.
Okay, I know that the title trips people up a little bit. So I love to cook. I've loved to cook for many, many years. And Wesley, I think that's why we've lasted so long, because he loves my cooking.
I do.
And Wesley's last name is Loon, there's never been a more perfect name for someone. I refer to him as the Loon. So when I decided I wanted to start a food blog just for the fun of it, I mean, it was literally just a hobby. I'll tell you why. I posted like a salad that we made on Facebook, and so many people were like, oh my God, that looks so good. I want that recipe. It's that instant gratification. And then I did something else the next week, like pork chops or something. And it was cool. It was fun. So I thought, I think I should start a food blog. It would be kind of fun. And so I was thinking, what could I, and I knew humor needed to be a part of it, because that's such a part of it's our lives. And so I thought, How to Feed a Loon would be kind of funny. And I put that, I said, would you think that'd be funny? I had like another idea, like the Hungry Texan, I think. And they're like, oh no, How to Feed a Loon, that's the way to do it. So I just did it, and people kind of thought it was funny, and it just grew from there. So that's the name. And it started just a little history. It started just me. It was just me being able to share recipes that I loved, but I knew that Wesley I wanted Wesley to be a part of it because, of course, he's a part of the name. And it didn't take long for Wesley. At first, he was like, I don't want to be involved in that. But then it didn't. He started to see like,
I'm like, work? Do I really need to work?
I know it was too much work, but he started to see the attention that it was getting, and then, of course, that attracted him to it immediately. And it's just evolved from there.
Yeah, and he used to take the pictures with his iPhone, and they were just
careful.
They weren't very good. So I immediately saw my place in this venture, and I started to study photography, also editing, through Photoshop, and then later on, when we decided to start putting together our videos, then I started to learn film editing as well.
It's so funny. I remember this transition happening. I remember coming over for drinks one night and you saying, well, if you're going to stay, you have to stay on the couch because the spare bedroom had just turned into a staging area. It was just full of pots and pans and dishes, just one of each, just a single plate just for use for staging for a piece of cheesecake or who knows what. And I was like, this is going somewhere now, and this is exciting.
Yeah, and the lighting in the bedroom was wonderful for photography. It was daylighting.
And when we started, I in the back of my mind, I knew that there were people who monetized food blogs and made money from it, but I had zero idea. I was like, I'm going to figure it out, but I don't know how. And I really it was a process. Let's just say that.
Well, let's talk about how you figured it out. Did you have a mentor that sort of showed you the ropes, or did it just come from? I imagine a huge part of it is just being very consistent overall as well.
Yeah, I mean, the blog will be 10 years old this October, which is kind of mind blowing. In a way, it seems like it's been way more than 10 years, but then it's hard to believe we've been doing this for a decade. But when I started, and it was 10 years ago, so there was still, the world of the internet and Google was in full. You could still find so much information available at you. What?
No, I'm just laughing that we did it. There was a time when there wasn't the internet.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to have a blog without the internet. But you could, I just started researching, like, can you make money through a blog? And, it's just like today, there's a ton of information out there. So I started to sift through it, and I started to try to connect with other bloggers, and it did. I don't know. I don't know if we were lucky or what happened, but it did start to attract attention, and people were coming to us and saying, I want to help you, and I want to participate in what you're doing. And so that was key to our growth, I think.
That actually, when we started the blog, it was just the recipes, just photography. And then somebody from our community theater group, who is a producer he produced corporate videos, said, I would really love it if you guys could just kind of do like a little cooking on camera. Oh. So he got his cameras together. We went over to a friend's house who had a wonderful kitchen, and we shot our first videos there. And they still exist, and they make us, I gag every once in a while because they're so different than what we do now. But that's how we start. And it was such a great thing because obviously we're presenters, we love the theater. So this gave us the opportunity to perform and earn money doing it.
Now you have a global audience now, which is incredible. Your mind must be blown.
Oh, I know. It's just, yeah. And I will say that in so much, I think a lot of the success that we've seen is because that we are unique. We're there's no one like us, good or bad, I guess you could say.
There's not really a bunch of gay couples out there.
Well, but whether it's gay or whatever you are, but I'm always telling people that whatever you're doing, you need to believe you need to be honest with yourself, and especially if you're going to start diving into any sort of brand representation or affiliate marketing, you need to 100% believe in what you're representing, because it is you. It is your face out there. And the last thing you ever want is something to circle back to you, that a faulty product or something that you don't honestly believe in. And when you look at your website and you see all these different brands and sponsors that you work with, the way that you speak about them and you interact with these products, and whether it's a cut of beef or whatever it is, these are actual products that you believe in, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think to that point, I think what you're saying is, be authentic, be yourself, be true to who you are. And for us, our relationship. And I think that has been key to our success, because we have a global audience, but more, and you would be amazed. It has nothing to do with gay or anything like that. It has to do with the relationship. And people really feel like they are part of a family with us. They feel comfortable. I mean, you won't believe how many middle-aged straight men love us. They
like, my wife loves you guys, and I love you guys. And it's just, it just makes us feel great. And like you said, it's sometimes we'll get comments and they'll say, I don't even care what you're cooking. I just want to watch you guys.
That's incredible.
Is so
nice. I felt when I first started doing this community television thing that I'm doing, and suddenly I'm hosting interviews too often, but I felt like I constantly was sort of censoring myself, playing a different version of Ryan.
Oh, sure.
And it got too exhausting. And at a certain point, I said, it doesn't matter who I'm interviewing, whether it's the mayor or whoever. I just have to be me, because I can't put this act on every day. I'm not playing a character in Broadway. I'm interacting live, and I'm not that good at improv. So I can't play a character day in and day out. I can be engaging in the way that I'm engaging. I can look at you and listen to you and respond to you. And that's what's great is, you two are always just so funny together anyway. And the way you bounce things back and forth off of each other.
Oh, sure.
It's just a chance to witness it. And when I watch your videos, and it's just like the old times being back in your living room when we'd be lip syncing to ragtime or whatever we'd be doing.
Oh, yeah. But, we had an evolution as well. We both started off as, I want to say, I did at least. I was very campy. Like I was a caricature of myself when we first started. But now we're really, we do it now so often that we finally settled into being ourselves.
Are you saying you're not campy? You've really butched it up, haven't you?
Well, it is a heightened version of yourself. It is still it is still eyes popping. You are awake. You are present. You've had your third cup of coffee for the day, or whatever you need that gets you at that energy level, because it still requires energy and focus. And I'm sure afterwards it's exhausting too. It
is. It's like we've done a 2-act show. It's we a lot of it we play off of each other, but we also have to storyboard it out a bit before we start each of our recipes.
So tell me a little bit about that. Just, if we have anyone who's watching who's thinking of starting a cooking vlog or any sort of lifestyle, media, what's your sort of pre-production process of getting all of this together? I know, Kris, you were at the market today searching for bread for banh mi sandwiches, looking all over Texas for a specific kind of French bread. But what does that process look like from point A to point B?
Yeah, well, we start with our schedule. Kris is the scheduler. I'm just kind of like, whatever, let's just do this and that. And he's like, no, we need the schedule. So we usually have about a 3-month out schedule of all of our recipes, and that includes the development stage, and then it also includes the testing, and then the photography, and then the last stage is always the video.
So he's talking about an actual recipe. So developing, I always try to we don't just copy other recipes. I do lots of research and then develop my own version of it, and that takes time. And then we usually go through a testing period with it. Not always. Sometimes if I feel pretty confident that we're gonna let's photograph this. But
then if I taste it, it's like, I don't know if this is approved by the Loon.
Yeah. So we go through that stage. And then we do it again when we film it. So by the time we're finished with whatever recipe it is, I don't want to
made it like 4 or 5 times.
See, that just blows my mind right now, because I'm usually working in such a fast process. Even with this video we're doing right now, I'm hoping I can release it from beginning to end and throw a title or a lower third on it and be done with it. That's always my goal. With the amount of video production we're doing here at the studio, I imagine that you are going to make something one time in the kitchen, film it, take the photograph afterwards, and be done with it. But
I wish.
You wish.
That would be lovely. That would be lovely. But no, and that's just for, when you were asking what's your process, we're also, for anyone that's wanting to do something like this, it is a continuous process of evolving and learning and trying to stay ahead of the game. And that means it's more than just the blog. We concentrate, we don't like it, but we have to concentrate heavily on social media. We have a YouTube channel that where there's massive potential with YouTube, but it's a massive audience and it's hard to crack that code. So we're constantly looking at other things that we can do to grow to expand our visibility, because the more people that are looking at our content, the more money we're going to make.
Yeah. And money is a big deal, obviously. So the blog now, which is fantastic, now supports both of us. So
that's incredible.
So we formed an LLC. We are an S corp now, and we pay ourselves, and which is something 10 years ago when Kris just started the blog. The fact that we would actually pay ourselves, take taxes out of our paychecks, all of that is just, once again, it's mind blowing. But it's worth it, for us to be able to do this every day and it being our livelihood. It's just amazing.
That is amazing. Not to get too much into the numbers, but perhaps you could just sort of rank through, if you think about all of the different types of income streams. What brings in the most, and how do they taper? What is the major one that funds most of your livelihood and your living? And
I'm very expensive.
That's our biggest expense, just him.
Champagne taste.
Yeah. It's that, you hear that you don't want all your eggs in one basket, and that's definitely true for what we're doing. And so we try to diversify our income as much as possible. So if one starts to dry up a little bit, we've got other to help, keep it all level. But our the lion's share of our income comes from ad revenue. So we have our blog, we have hundreds of thousands of visitors, page views every month, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. And so we work with a third-party ad network that runs pretty high-end ads throughout our website. And so the more traffic we get, the more traffic we get, the more ads impressions we get, which means we make more money. So, and that has been growing every year. So
that's our main bread and butter. The next thing after that is sponsorships. For instance, we did a full year of they called us their ambassadors. It was for Tom Thumb grocery store, and then the next year Kroger hired us to do another year. So sponsorships, and for those, for instance, we would buy their products that they would sell at the store, and then we would create recipes using those products. That's the second tier. So the main tier is our blog. The second tier is our sponsorships. What's the third tier?
Well, then we do make money from YouTube. We have a subscription service where people can be subscribed to what we call a premium access, where they can view all of our content through an app, where they don't have to see ads. They pay for that. And then we've made pretty good money from that. And then various other, like Wesley said, social media. Pinterest has if we can generate enough type of views, they have a program where they'll pay us a certain amount of money. So there's a lot of different ways and we're constantly looking at ways. So, we're a cookbook is probably going to happen eventually. We've been contacted by a publisher a couple of years ago who wanted to publish a cookbook for us. And so Wesley seeked out, we didn't have any kind of like a literary agent. They hadn't even really thought about it. So we connected with the #1 literary cookbook agent out of New York City. And we happened to just be visiting New York that weekend. So we met with her and she said, you guys, she knew who we were. She said, you're on my radar. But she recommended that we wait until we get a larger audience, because then she can go to these publishers and get a huge advance and do a really, really hardcover, gorgeous cookbook. So we plus our bandwidth, we just don't have the time to put together a cookbook right now, but that we believe is coming sooner than later.
We just need to grow a little bit, grow a little more. And so we're both comfortable when we get to that point.
Now you've made this your full-time work. For someone who just might want to start dabbling in as an influencer or making video content, is there a way for someone to do that on a much smaller level? What do you?
Yeah, Instagram is great for that. TikTok, if that stays around, who knows if it's going to get banned in the United States. But Instagram actually is a perfect place for that with Reels. And if you get enough followers, Instagram starts to pay you for those Reels. So you start to earn a little bit of income. And you can use just your phone. Nowadays it's like, okay, so I spent hours and hours and hours of gaining the knowledge of the Canon, my 18,000 whatever, and here's some little twerp with an iPhone takes this picture and I'm like, what?
A lot of the big influencers, on YouTube and across social media, that they use their phones, they use iPhones, and so that's certainly very cost effective, and there's editing that you can do on your phone, and this is what I get all the time too.
Come over into my view.
There's easy editing that you can do that doesn't cost. That's the thing, is you don't have to. You can get started. Just make the jump and just do it, and it's amazing how much you learn, and you'll realize there's so much you don't know, and then you start to learn it.
Right.
And there are Facebook groups where you can, if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel on anything.
There are YouTube channels about how to start a YouTube channel.
There are Facebook groups about how to be a successful Instagrammer. I mean, you name it, there's a community out there that you can benefit from, and you just start going, and you can't be discouraged, because it's easy to get discouraged.
Right. And you need to, once you get to a point, so you can start there, you can start on social media, but at some point you need to start delivering more and more. And luckily we have our blog, we have the YouTube channel, we have all these other different ways to give our audience more.
Right. I imagine that having a robust email list is a huge asset in your pocket as well. Do any of your brands require email correspondence as part of their deal?
Well, not really. I mean, it's a good way for us to drive traffic, because they all will, whenever we publish a recipe, we always send it out in a newsletter, and we have,
and we don't, that's the thing. Our newsletter is our newsletter. We don't want anybody else.
I gotcha.
So those recipes that we develop for sponsors, part of the package that they pay for is that representation in our newsletter.
And it's also, in the blogging world, having a robust newsletter audience is important, because, like Wesley said, they subscribe to us, so they can unsubscribe anytime.
But they want to be. They want to be.
They
there.
want to be there, and we've got them. And so, no matter what, Google can do whatever it wants to and make our rankings go down, and we'll suffer from that. And that happens to everyone. It's the way it is in the world that we do.
Google.
But that newsletter list is ours, and so we can always use that to market to and to help sustain our business.
Yeah, that's very important to keep building your newsletter, because like Kris said, Google could pull the plug, or AI out now could start developing a recipe without,
But I think that's what's going to make actual talent and actual presenters stand out from those AI channels. They're all over YouTube now with fake voices, created completely by nobody. People are always going to seek real interaction and real connection, and that's what you need. That's it. Find whatever niche market you're going into, but deliver real information authentically, and people will connect, and there's an audience for everyone, no matter how specific that topic is you want to talk about or how broad. There's an audience out there.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, and that's what makes, what we do, and probably most of the people watching your program, is we are unique, and we have a background of performing. And, we've had people say, I came for your chicken salad, but I came back because of the two of you. And so, you've got to deliver quality. It's important that we deliver good recipes and that they're tested and they look good and all of that. But I think what differentiates us from so many other bloggers out there is us, and then the special thing that we can bring to the table.
And that chicken salad. Oh my God.
And a really good chicken salad.
Knowing that you do this full time, how much time are you putting into this every week? Have you ever really measured out the time? And I guess this is a two-parter too. Working with your spouse at home, how do you draw the line between your work time and your living time? Or does it all get blended together too often?
Oh gosh. Well, we're lucky enough to have a space. We each have our own offices. So we're lucky and those offices are on a different floor. So it's away from the kitchen. So we actually schedule, we map our schedule out. We have days where we just spend in the office doing, we call it administrative work.
Well, it's when we do editing, writing, format, all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
Paying bills.
And that's, I can shut my door anytime I want to.
Yeah.
So
I can answer that. We blend our life with our work. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
We
work on the weekends.
We work, and I would also say that the success that we have found has not come easily. It's hard work. As anyone that's successful in whatever they do, you got to be willing to put in the hard work. And so we sometimes feel like we put in too many hours. It's not uncommon to have a week where we work 7 days a week, and some of those days are 10, 12-hour work days. But we're doing what we love, right. And we, for the most part, get along really well and make each other laugh. So it's when Wesley was, I've been doing it full time now since 2015. So it's been a while. Wesley just went full time just about a year ago.
Yeah.
So when he was in a sales job that gave him quite a bit of flexibility to be able to contribute to our work, but it was hard. It was really, really hard. And so then he was able to. We finally made that transition for him to step away from that work, and so that's helped us with our schedules as far as not working quite as much, but not really. We
still and plus, because we make our own schedule, so we if we have to go do something with the family or something like that, not have to, we want to, right? We want to, then we make the time for it. We actually carve out the time, or we'll do this that day. We'll have that day off, and it's nice working for yourself. That's
wonderful.
In the business that we do, consistency is important. Putting out a consistent time, people expect certain things at certain times from you, and so do systems like Google and the YouTube algorithms, and so it's important that we stay on schedule. It's sometimes really hard, and that's why because life comes along and throws a wrench at you. So if you can get far enough out in advance, like we try to always be working on content that won't be published for 2 weeks, a minimum 2 weeks, but that's sometimes easier said than done.
Then Easter, and you make Easter dinner for the entire family. So then that throws us off.
My last question for you both is, will Texas stages ever have the opportunity to see Kris and Wesley grace the stage again? Is that going to be happening anytime?
We would love for that to happen. We get asked that a lot, and it's such a good thing to see, because there is, as in New Jersey, there's an amazing amount of theater opportunities here and amazingly talented people. It blows me away how, this country is so involved in sports and politics and all this, but theater and the arts, I should say, they're just thriving. And so we work so hard at doing what we're doing. It's hard to imagine that we could take on, a rehearsal schedule, but it will happen. It will happen. We do miss it. Although
as soon as we have a staff, that's when we'll do it.
Yeah, that's we do want to. We're going to be hiring people, and we're going to hopefully be building our own studio before too long, and so when that starts to happen, then we'll be able to free up some time to
go on vacation
or stomp the boards or whatever they say. Get
Tread the boards.
Tread the boards. That's what I was looking for.
Thank you so much for taking all this time. I love you both so much.
We love you.
Well, that brings us to the end of another amazing episode. Oh, I love those guys. They're incredible. This is The Artistic Entrepreneur. And if you're watching this, I really want to know what you are doing in your career. What is your side hustle? Are you going down a different path? And how are you using those skills that you've been working on maybe your whole life to serve that career and to further that career? There are so many opportunities out there. You just have to keep your eyes open and keep listening for them. There are ways for you to support yourself in the arts while still using those skills. And I hope this is just another example for you. Thanks for watching, and take care.